So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate the Ohuhu Honolulu Plus Markers and this marker board, which is a very thick, solid board. It reminds me of a Bristol board, so it's great for comic drawing, but it's specifically designed for the markers so that you don't get bleed through. And it seemed to be that no matter how much marker I added on top of these, it just did not bleed through. So that was awesome. And so I'm going to be able to showcase these for you. Again, these are their new Honolulu Plus versions, so they have better tips to them. They're just an upgraded version of the previous markers that I think I demonstrated not too long ago. So just a nice assortment of colors, and also another 36 markers with more colors. So just fantastic. Just super grateful to these guys. Their markers are really good quality. I love using them. I'm not, like some pro marker person, as you probably know by watching the channel, but I dig them nonetheless. So it's going to be a great opportunity to show you what I can do with them. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and let's jump on in. All right, so first things first, we need to draw out a character to ink and then color. So I'm going to go with the Hulk. I'm using a 2H lead and my 2mm lead holder and drawing out this face. The paper is very nice, like a Bristol board smooth is probably the closest thing I can compare it to at this point. It handles the clarity of the pencil really well, so not a lot of grain to it. It erases nicely. Yeah, it's definitely some high quality, very thick board. Here, just kneading up the good old kneaded eraser, soft erasing the work, and now I'll come back through with, I think I might be using HP lead at this point. But mechanical pencil, just tightening up the line work. Obviously, if you've watched the channel, you've seen me do this plenty of times, but essentially just trying to fix that really bad drawing that I started with. I did go in pretty loose anyways. Like I figured, I would be able to clean it up from the pencils, the inks, and whatever. So I didn't mind going in pretty loose, but it was a bad sketch, I gotta admit. As I look back, I was like, wow, that was a really bad sketch. But a lot of times you can pull energy from bad sketches, so there is that. And yeah, cleaning that up, almost ready to start inking it, messing with the hair. At this point, I'm like really studying certain angles and parts of it and going, it's not the best, but you know what? I got one more level of refinement. I did have to use these Copic markers because they didn't smudge as much on the paper versus some of the other markers I tried. So you will want to test various pens to see which ones will not smudge and bleed as much when you go to use the alcohol markers. So right here, just obviously tightening up the lines, cleaning things up, making any final decisions as to what details I want to see, stuff like that. But some of the things I noticed when using these Honolulu Plus markers, because that's the series that these are, they reacted a lot better than the previous ones. So again, the other markers that I'd used were actually a different set, different series, and although they're great quality, these ones are even another level up. Obviously, that's what they mean by plus. And the way that I could tell, you'll see here in a minute as I use the bigger black pen to do some of the fill work, I was able to fill right to the very edges confidently. And it's really nice because I generally have to bring out a different brush pen to do that. And I noticed that it was bleeding more than I liked, especially as I applied the alcohol markers over top. So this particular black that came with this set, not only did it fill in beautifully, a nice solid fill, the tip is very, I don't know how to explain it. It's a very good tip. I don't know how to say it. Like it gets into the edges really nice. It's got good flexibility and it holds the ink well. You can see I'm not struggling to get all those little shapes in there. That's a big deal in and of itself. Like I almost thought about as I was doing this, I might buy a couple of these just for that. Like I really have a lot of trouble doing large fills like that, and that was super easy. So that was pretty cool. One thing I will say, and you'll see as we get into the coloring, I just want to be forthcoming that you do have to be kind of careful, at least from my perspective, with alcohol-based markers, that they do tend to push the black around and bleed a little bit regardless. Now, I'm sure somebody that knows these markers better could, tell me some tricks, maybe some ways to set the previous layers. But I noticed that if I was to draw right through all the black areas in the line work, I was going to pull some of that color with me. And so again, that could be a little bit of a lack on my experience level. It's not like it was defeating, the purpose. Like, it was still a great coloring process. They're still great markers. They're great quality. The tips are fantastic. The control is fantastic. But again, I was like, I got to be careful around the larger fills of black. And, so that's something that you just want to be aware of. And I just want to be, again, very honest and forthcoming, because I like them. I love them. They're great. But I don't want to miss out on, I don't want to mislead you and say that they were, in my mind, perfect. Like, I just don't know enough about markers, I guess, in general. So I started off with a very light color, that light, yellowish green, and then I'm coming back through with a little bit darker tone. I'm also like doubling up as much as I can, and so I would say the video probably doesn't do it as much justice. Like, I think that it's more vivid in person, but I did notice that I had to do second and third passes on certain areas. You'll see I do it with the blue here, and again, that's probably just standard or par for the course with markers, but I'm not used to them. So again, that's something I was having to figure out. And I would say the colors on the back of the markers match the color pretty well. Not perfect, but you always, in my mind, it's always a good idea to have a test piece of paper. I have it off to the side, and I do a test blend. I do a test rendering of anything I'm going to do before I jump over to the main thing that I'm working on. And so my biggest tip on this is that start very light with your tones and your colors. Test on your rider board off to the side, and then slowly build up, because it's hard to go back. It's next to impossible to go back. Like, if you go too far with your colors, you're pretty much done for. Again, unless there's other techniques that I don't know, but that's just the way it is for me. I had to like slowly build up to it and work up to the tones I wanted, and then from there I was pretty much good to go. So overall, these are some fantastic markers. I know they're definitely better price than a lot of the well-known ones like Copics and things like that, but the brush tips are on a whole nother level. Flexible, accurate, really enjoyed using them. The paper as well. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll make sure to add a link for these markers in the description box below. And as always, keep drawing, keep having fun, and bye for now.